Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start us off with Buenos Noches real quick. Let's see. Buenos Noches. John the Pickle. Love John the Pickle's name. So coming in from BN, Conqueror, Kremlin, Double Salem, Moskva, Double Nevsky, Gearing, Daring. So a 2DD heavy radar comp coming in from BN.
Over on the other side, we have a Shikishima, which we haven't seen too often so far. Kremlin for some nose-in badassery. We got a Des Moines, Moskva, Stalingrad, Goliath. Okay, interesting. Actually, double Goliath with a Shima and a Gearing. So double DD on both sides, actually. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. So this is interesting. This is the first game we've seen where both teams brought 2 DDs as opposed to 3. I want to go ahead and say, historically speaking, that generally a team that brings 3 DDs beats a team that has 2, although not always. I would say from the games I've cast, it's like 75-25, the team with 3 DDs wins. But this is 2 teams with 2 DDs. And yes, they did bring a ship brought the Shikishima in lieu of the Yamato, as BN actually banned the Yamato. So we'll see if that Shikishima does its job and literally overmatches some 32mm armor through sheer force of size.
Yeah, I mean, the Shikishima is going to be able to rip that Conqueror in half if he gets some really good shells in there, so that could definitely be something to watch. As far as opening deployments, BN's Jamie Mendoza is rushing over to Bravo, which does look to be matched by Planet Hodags? I almost
Hodags.
Thought that, I really thought that was hot dogs for a second. Planet Hodags, Des Moines, over on ASHIP, is moving toward the center. So as soon as that Daring does actually pop on Bravo, he's probably going to get radared. But if it takes him a little time to wiggle, turn around, and then do like the little reverse into the cap thing, that Des Moines of Planet Hodags might actually be out of a line of sight and not able to reset him. So might be able to get away with it.
Yep. So first shots coming in of the game on Planet Hodags here, who is well, he's going to be taking some Nevsky fire, and it looks like Conqueror fire as well. Probably not too big of a deal as long as the Conqueror doesn't land an AP salvo on him. But yeah, shots being traded early here as Yemi Mendoza and Planet Hodags providing a little bit of early line of sight. So looking at it, it's going to be Gearing for a ship, heading out to A with a Goliath and a Shikishima, although really it's just the Goliath and the Gearing. And that's going to be up against 2 Nevskys and a Gearing, likely to see smoking up from BN over there. Over on the seaside, a ship is committing a lot more resources to the seaside, along with their Shimakaze, whereas, well, I mean, BN is putting quite a few resources into seaside as well, but not the DD. So we're going to go ahead and have to see if looks like Jamie may actually be readjusting and going to see as we speak.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to this. So Charlie does look like it's setting up for a long-term attrition play, which is not surprising. However, I would have to give this to BN in this instance, as they're running the double Salem on that 9-10 line, and the Kremlin may also be going on that 9 line as well. That's going to result in one hell of a wrap in about 3 to 5 minutes. Over at Bravo, the Daring of Jamie Mendoza decided to completely bail on trying to grab the B cap, and has moved over to start contesting C, which I can't imagine he's going to take anytime soon with a Des Moines and a Stalin, and potentially some sections of the cap with the Moskva. Torps out toward Brenton Brawler, and a Gearing, he's showing a lot of side. I don't know if that's actually going to hit. A lot of times we see this stuff. Sometimes people put out miracles, but that's looking pretty sexy, Bogsy.
Oh, just barely takes that one in the nose.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of pressure over at A cap. Holy good.
It certainly is. Torpedoes coming in on these 2 Nevskys. One Nevsky taking a Shimakaze, Gearing torpedo early on here, as we have seen American smoking up double Nevskys in the past. It's a very, very strong strategy. However, it does say, put torpedoes here, please. And that is, in fact, what ended up happening, as Zapata 96M was not able to get himself turned in or out fast enough to dodge those torpedoes. However, with the double radar and very, very fast-firing high-velocity guns of the Nevskys, A is looking like it's going to be firmly in control of Buenos Noches, as Time to Metal's Gearing takes that for them.
Over at C, the Daring of Jamie Mendoza dips in for a bit of a wade in the pool, and immediately meets the radar of Hater Male's Stalingrad over on the A-ship side. Those shells did not connect, and Jamie Mendoza has immediately run from the cap, but looking to come back for more, as he's already stopped and is ready to reverse. Over on the 9-10 line, we do have the double Salem and a Kremlin push, which might be met by some Shimikaze torps from Tree of Death that is all the way on the E line. E10 has a sexy little crossfire shot. If those torps end up coming across over to Kaiser Kraken, gonna see if there's anything that's gonna hit there. A is firmly in the control of BN with the double smoked Wooster and gearing the A to torpedo. Goliath is having to run, although Goliath has a lot of health. Shikishima already farmed down by a third, and Brenton Brawler taking some shots but not moving aggressively at all. A dominated.
Yes, there's really almost nothing that a ship can do about the smoked up double Nevskis and gearing of Buenos Noches over there at A, so they're going to have to probably put their resources elsewhere. Problem is they devoted their other destroyer, the Shimikaze Tree of Death, Tree O Death, over here to the 10 line, which is very interesting. It appears to me as though the whole point was to get torpedoes onto the folks that like to sit northwest of C here, but his push up to do so was completely blunted by a popular Boar's Salem, which Shimikaze just has absolutely nothing to do against there. So now already here, about 5.5 minutes into the game, a ship is basically being pushed back from both of the extreme caps at A and C. And that's I'm going to say this is not a good look for a ship, as they're going to probably just get muscled out, as Planet Hodag's getting smashed up here in the center by a Kremlin that has very aggressively pushed up just into the C cap.
Absolutely, the Kremlin being used as a battering ram, as we do often see. Tree of Death did throw 3 racks of torps at him, but that Kremlin went from 0 to full really quick and just outran those torps and got to cover. Now able to shoot the Des Moines in the face while taking fire from multiple angles. More shells coming out from the Kremlin as we see, and the Des Moines going to live through that one too. So that's probably going to go eventually the way to the Kremlin, but the real question isn't whether the Des Moines is dead, because he probably is. It's how much of the Kremlin's health gets ripped right out of that ship, because right now he's got some withering fire coming in on him.
That's right. So for anybody watching who doesn't know, the Des Moines is it's a heavy cruiser, but its front armor is plated with 27 millimeters, and then the deck and upper hull is 30 millimeters. That armor is actually overmatched by the 457 millimeter guns of the Kremlin. So Kaiser Kraken's Kremlin can push in here, have a clear shot on this Des Moines, and in fact blap him right through the nose with basic impunity if he's firing armor piercing. It looks like Kaiser Kraken's Kremlin is about to go down. But the question will be, like we said, will he get a chance to kill Planet Hodags? No, he will not. And it did not even translate into C-Cap for Buenos Noches. That's first blood going to a ship, even though they look like they might be losing Planet Hodags here shortly.
Yeah, ASHIP actually coming up with a clutch kill there, able to brace against the push over at Charlie. The Kraken Kremlin just did crack-lacking from too many points, eventually went down, and the famed Russian dispersion coming up short in that case, with Planet Hodag somehow living with 8,000 health and healing already. Double Salem is pushing, Shimikaze falls back, Goliath actually taking quite a bit of shell structure, and Goliath is nose in against both Salems. I know he's going to be able to take a lot of damage, but at the same time, that's a withering level of fire, although right now they're dumping shells into Tree of Death, who is running for his life. The Kremlin and the Des Moines of C are basically just bunkered up, and Planet Hodags continues to heal, while A is still solidly over to BN, and John the Impaler moving his Conqueror somewhere toward Bravo as the Moskva of Kinky Tail starts making some moves.
So yeah, this is very interesting, because as you can see over on the A side, if you take a look at the minimap real quick, BN has firmly taken A, and they actually began pushing Time to Metal's gearing down the one line to try and force the gearing of ASHIP and the Goliath to basically fall back. That's going to start to create that horseshoe that you really want to see when you're trying to wrap up one of these King of the Sea games. BN also at the same time trying to push down the 9-10 line against Booberry Pie's Goliath and the Kremlin of Homely with the boat, but got a little bit stuck there as John the Pickle, Jamie Mendoza, and Popular Boar sort of going, we don't want to expose ourselves to the big guns of that Kremlin. As we just explained, they can essentially overmatch everything about these Salems. So at the moment, point gain is only coming in from Buenos Noches. However, the Moskva of Kinky Tail in B has stepped on, although I doubt he's going to be able to do much, as he's effectively trading with John the Impaler's Conqueror, and that's not a good look for a Moskva.
No, not at all. Not only that, Kinky Tail's also got 2 Nevskys that are starting to pour in fire. There is the massive shells of the Shikishima flying over the Kinky Tail's head and into John the Impaler's hull. The question is if that's actually going to get Citadels and somehow beat out the death rate of the Moskva. He is trying to dive for some island cover to protect against the Nevskys, but even still, he's diving in front of a Conqueror. I don't really see how that one's going to work outside of some miracle shells from a Shikishima. Charlie still not moving, although the Kremlin of Homie with Devot's getting a little bit frisky as the Shimakaze comes over and scares him with some torpedoes that are way too close. Really going to come down to what happens at Bravo, because A is completely, totally lost. A ships keeping their ships out there just to try and help, as Iron Sarge almost takes a torpedo, but jukes it.
So the question now for BN is, how do you get rid of Planet Hodags? Planet Hodags, Des Moines has been sitting there as a thorn in their side, keeping them from dealing with A for basically the entire game. This is very interesting, as a ship now with about a 60,000 HP gain on Buenos Noches is starting to be aggressive and push forward. BN can make up some of that HP as soon as this Conqueror prints a new ship, but it is interesting to me that he hasn't done so yet, as he, at 17,000 HP, he could be overmatched and killed by the Shikishima right here. We'll see if it happens. No, some damage for sure, going down to 8,000. He must be sitting on a heel that's just not quite ready yet. As Siberian Dogs, Moskva, also taking a lot of damage. Okay, Conqueror go Bert, and the heel has been hit as we watch the Conqueror rise from the grave like the mighty Lazarus, I suppose. But I think we might be eating our words, as BN has in fact retreated from A. Not enough to give it to a ship, but I believe they're trying to help John the Impaler take care of Kinky Tail over here.
Yeah, John the Unfailer continuing not to die, as Homie with Devot pushing, dodging some torps, but all sorts of attrition happening over here at this sea flank. A Goliath taking some serious withering fire from the Salem of Popular Boar, but I believe he took a torpedo from I have no idea where, and that was the thing that pushed the Salem over the edge. Goliath popping off a heel, and eventually to turn around and get back in. Down goes the Moskva over Charlie, as Charlie officially falls to the red team. Moskva might actually be dark at this point. John the Impaler's guns are silent, and so is the Moskva. That's going to be Bravo pretty soon too. And holy crap, the unassailable A is about to be touched by Brenton the Brawler. Time to Metal having enough health, he could probably go in there and take the fight, and radar was just lit off, which did briefly detect him. Brenton the Brawler bailing on A.
That's right. So what happened there in the meantime was 2 ships further down on side of Buenos Noches. Buenos Noches now down on HP, down on time, down on points, and down on ships, and now down on caps. Oh, and down goes Zapata 96M for Buenos Noches. Took a torpedo there from, I believe, Brenton Brawler's gearing. And now Buenos Noches in a very precarious position, having a huge hill to reclimb to try and retake this. Kinky Tail could be going down here in the middle in his Moskva very shortly, as combined fire from John the Impaler's Conqueror and Jason S. Nevsky could find Moskva going down here, but this is firmly in the control of a ship doing a brilliant job of giving some space, allowing BN to push too far, punishing those ships that move, and using focus fire. I want to say this is a textbook example, folks, of Moskva, yes, if Kinky Tail does go down, that's the first loss for a ship. This is a textbook example of, if you lose in the beginning of the game, if you lose the caps, if you lose the positioning, it does not mean you are out. It just means that you need to readjust, you need to pick someone to kill first, and you need to get them dead. And then once that happens, you start to readjust where your ships are, and very likely you can start to use the ship advantage that you have from focusing down one to your advantage. And a ship has done an absolutely beautiful job of that.
Yes, the ship was finally kink-shamed, as Kinky Tail did go down in Bravo. The guns of the Conqueror immediately going over to the Kremlin with 13,000 health. It doesn't look like BN has a way in. It just doesn't have the ships or the capability to push that. But we have a lot of ships over on ASHIP side that just don't have the health. If those Conqueror shells connect and that Kremlin runs out of damage cons, that'll be all she wrote, and piece by piece by piece, they might be able to tick these dominoes off the mark. Time to Metal versus Brenton Brawler over at Alpha. There is a Goliath and Iron Sarge steaming over to assist, but if it comes down to a gun duel, that might be some points and potentially a cap for a little bit. Really, though, shells have to connect on these low health targets. They've got to get the point trade so they have some kind of way back in.
And I think that way back in is frankly by killing the Kremlin, homie with the boat, which looks like it might happen here as, oh my goodness, there it was. The Shikishima finally connecting, several ships connected with John the Impaler's Conqueror, but good lord, he took, my goodness, he took 25,000 damage in that hit there. Conqueror, very squishy. We all hate it for its HE spamming capabilities and ship reprinting, but boy, is it squishy. John the Impaler likely to go down here. I don't think that Kremlin is going to be enough. John the Pickle way out here on the 10 line, very likely afraid to really do anything as he's low on health and probably low on heals. I just don't see a way in for Buenos Noches, like we were saying. Gearing managing to take back the ACAP for Buenos Noches, but again, it's 1v2 versus a similarly healthed Gearing and a Goliath, which is essentially pure denial. I mean, there's no way a Gearing is really going to take down a Goliath without landing some lucky torps.
Yeah, Iron Sarge basically just blocking the door saying, "You shall not pass, sir." Meanwhile, John the Unconquered stays out all there on the B line, hoping for some kind of heal to come soon. Looks like it's not going to happen. And the F it button was pressed as the Conqueror actually opens up, taking some shots at a Shikishima, inviting some return fire, and down Frazier does not happen. So Frazier might go down soon, but he hasn't gone down yet. John the Unconquered still landing as John the Pickle decides to turn in the opposite direction of the cap, looking for a way in and evidently not finding it.
Yep, that's the way it's going to go. BN realizing the writing is on the wall here, and now most, if not all, ships are starting to make an aggressive push. It looks like John the Impaler's Conqueror may just be out of heals as he is steaming towards the caps, towards danger, with less than 1,000 HP available. I almost wish that he would get as many shots off as possible by staying back and waiting for Jamie Mendoza to go ahead and spot things for him, as he's not long for this world. Looks like shots coming out between the Goliath of Blueberry Pie and John the Pickle. That's going to be an aggressive slugfest between a Salem and a Goliath there. But here comes the radar from a ship. It's going to light up Jamie Mendoza and John the Impaler. And, well, I think this one's going to a ship. Game one, I'm going to call it going to a ship.
Certainly feels like that. However, John the Pickle trading very favorably against the Conqueror of Blueberry Pie, and all the way down to 4.6, going a little lower. The Conqueror of John the Impaler does actually fall, but the question is, will John the Pickle make the play? Down goes the Goliath. That's going to open up the 9-10 line. Still, there's a 300-point difference at the moment, and shells coming in on that Salem did not connect. 8,600 still remaining on the Salem. Not dead yet. Time to Metal having to bail against the Gearing Goliath. Iron Sarge actually running in the opposite direction, as they really are favored to win at this point. 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. All the red team has to do is not die, and looking at these firing angles, I'm not seeing a way for them to, well, fail to achieve that, whatever, pun.
Pun, right. So, God, I think the only possible way this happens here is, well, nope, those torpedoes are going to miss Iron Sarge by a Shikishima length there. The Nevsky of Jason just not going to be able to shoot down this Goliath in time. I think a ship realizes, hey, even though we have the advantage, the thing to do here is just to create separation so we don't lose a ship accidentally to torpedoes. And yeah, everybody else just sort of taking... This is also a really important thing to note sometimes. Even if you are winning, stay back. The writing's on the wall. 29 seconds, and a ship wins this game one against BN. So don't take risks if you are already the one in commanding lead, and it looks like that's exactly what's happening. All of a ship's are in slow reverse at the moment, not looking to engage. It's Time to Metal here, looking to be a hero. Time to be a hero is really going in, taking shots at the Shiki, but probably looking for Tree of Death's. Yep, not going to happen. First game going to a ship. Congratulations.
Yeah, it looked like if there was another 30, maybe 40 seconds, that one Gearing did actually throw his torps off at the Goliath, which obviously did not connect. But if he still had it, he might have been able to YOLO rush the Shikishima with a torp and a dream. And the Salem of John the Pickle was in a kiting position, trying to play safe against the Goliath. Did have his ship turned around and was about to actually slide in the sideway for the C-cap, maybe try to pop some shots into a Stalin that was unexpected. Was it likely to win? No. But, I mean, it was an opportunity that could have happened and potentially gave us all a gasp of hope and surprise. that likely led to ultimate failure. Congratulations to ASHIP for dominating the C and B caps after the loss of that Kremlin, and somehow even being able to retake A, which looked like it was gone forever.
Discipline. I would say patience and discipline were what allowed ASHIP to fall back appropriately when necessary, even after taking an early torpedo on the A side there. I think it was their gearing that took another gearing torpedo right out of the gate. Excuse me. Yeah, really showing a lot of discipline in being able to fall back where necessary, find a target, focus the target, kill the target. In that case, it was the Kremlin of BN that pushed up to try and take C, and then slowly start to move your way in. It's okay to be 200-300 points down. We've seen from some of the best teams in this game, like 07, like Gaishu's clan, SCCC, some of these clans are able to do things where basically they'll be 400 or 500 points down. TNG did it yesterday where they were about 500 points down in their game 2, I believe, and they came back to win it because they said, we don't need to take the caps early, and all we need to do is hold our ships, save our HP, focus fire, kill one ship at a time, and then use that advantage to move up and take the caps, because once all 3 caps are down, it doesn't matter whether you've got 998 points. If you don't have any caps and you can't make a kill, you lose.
Absolutely. Play the long game. I think something 07 is famous for. I believe they tend to play a lot of the attrition stuff until it starts getting to that later moments. And usually superior gun handling, superior accuracy, better trades, better attrition. Well, eventually they get themselves into a point where they can just be like, we have now gotten to the effort point, and we have more health than you, and you're going to lose now. And they walk forward, and they take everything, and they drive people off and murder them.
That's right. Well, okay, so we're getting set up for game 2 here. I'm going to look at the... okay, so BN is the alpha spawn for all 3 matches, so we don't need to do any sort of... rotations or whatnot. They changed it. By the way, I should point out right now that the main person, I believe, the main person to be in charge of all of the setup is Duke. I don't know that he made all of the graphics and whatnot. I think a lot of that actually does come from Wargaming itself, but Duke was the one who created the installer, and he created the scene setups for us to be using here. So if you see his name is 00 Duke in game, I believe he's with, I forget, he was with KIA. I'm not sure where he is now, but if you do see Duke in game, please give him a thank you in an 07 for putting in a lot of work to do this for us so that this can be nice and smooth and slick for you guys. Yeah, it's a real thing about it where Trio Death saying you're going to make me famous again. I'm not sure what I did. Yeah, again, 07 is famous, like Oskans was saying, for basically being hundreds of points down at a time, but choosing to focus fire and kill one ship at a time and then take those caps. So,
all right, next one's going to be Warrior's Path. Have we seen this one? I feel like we've probably seen this one, but I can't
Yes. So yesterday, you and I were casting a game. Do you recall the Kleber that went through the island chain? He sat behind on the north side. He sat behind the island at sea for Warrior's Path, and we were like, "What in the hell is he doing? He's just sitting there. He's not using his speed or anything." But yeah, and then he managed to wedge himself in between the islands, and he outfought a couple of ships in there, and then took a torpedo, and I think it was probably pretty clutch for the team. So that was an exciting game. I can't remember who that was, but.
I don't remember, but I know he was with the Yu Yang, because like that was the bro move. A lot of stuff to cast. Do you think there's a chance in hell we see Kleber do the same thing on this map? Because it was pretty effective the last time.
I don't know. What would I say? The Marceau was banned, so the Kleber is a possibility. It could very well be. So. I'm sorry, I need to take care of a few little clerical things real quick.
Yeah, it does look like BN is all good to go. Everybody's readied up and waiting. Not actually seeing the mod. the ref, I guess,
The ref?
that would check stuff out. Maybe it
I
got.
think Julian Heafy is actually the referee and also a streamer.
Okay. I think they're streaming. I didn't know they were also a ref. But it does look like BN is ready, and Bravo team, the ASHIP crowd, hopefully will be pretty soon. I wonder if Old Dirty Napkin is maybe the new ref.
That could be. Oh no, he's actually playing with. He's playing with. Isn't he?
I don't know.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm so confused.
I'm confused too. Oh well, that's all right. So with Yamato being banned by Buenos Noches, ASHIP chose to bring Shikishima instead, which is an interesting choice. With Marceau being banned, we'll see if either of them bring a Kleber. Bring a Kleber. I do believe that. Okay, so Lieutenant Sebastian is the ref for this game. Looks like they're getting ready to go on here. Once again, bans being Yamato and Marceau. We'll see if the analogs for those get brought in this case. And looks like they're just getting ready. There's John the Pickle, John the Impaler. On 07, there's John the Ruthless. There's how many Johns are there? Good lord. Good lord.
Come on, screen. I wanna transition already. There we go.
Right. Okay. So Warrior's Path. Oh lord. Okay. Let's take a look here. So, coming in from Buenos Noches, Montana Kremlin, Des Moines, Wooster, Moskva, Nevsky, Daring, and Kleber. What do you know?
Wow, I have to profess a sizable amount of what to see the Wooster. Not that she isn't a strong ship, because she sure as hell is, but I guess that's going to have to be over at A. Meanwhile, over at ASHIP, we've got yet again a Shikishima, a Montana. We've got triple Des Moines, a Goliath, and triple DD. We've got a Gearing, Kleber, on both sides actually, and a Haragumo for that gunboat action.
Yeah. So one thing to note is that the Haragumo it is deceptive because it functions as a destroyer to a degree, but people tend to strategize and play it more as if it's a light cruiser because of its it's big and it's fat and it takes full pens from most cruisers' armor-piercing shells, no longer from battleship shells. That was a major down point to it beforehand. But recently, an update by Wargaming has made the Haragumo only take overpens from battleship AP once again, so it's a little more attractive now. The Kleber going to A for Buenos Noches is an interesting choice. It could just be that they're going to go ahead and dive this island in the center of the cap and just sort of stare over the fence saying, hey. We'll see how that works. Kleber for, I almost said WTP, but for ASHIP heading towards B, likely to do the exact same thing, only in front of the B island. And the Daring for the DD, so the DD is getting split up. The Daring of BN going for C along with the Wooster, Des Moines, and looks like, wow, very heavy push for Buenos Noches on the C cap. And it also looks like a heavy push for BC by ASHIP. So we're going to see a lot of fires over here on this side, I think.
Yeah, definitely seeing some confusing movement. So the Kleber over on B, BN heading out wide to A, that makes perfect sense. You slam on the afterburners and you get to A before anybody else does. Perfectly normal. Meanwhile, Old Dirty Napkin over on A-Ship going Bravo before, well, anybody else went there. But okay, you got there quick. I don't know if that's a loss of some of that speed influence, but at the same time, with only 2 destroyers, BN is not able to match it, and Bravo has fallen. Kleber now moving over to Charlie, eventually to meet the Daring there. The Wooster does not go over to Alpha on BN side, going instead to Charlie, and having no appreciable smoke cover. That's going to mean an open water Wooster, which is a little bit dangerous, but a little bit kick-ass if it starts landing all its shells. One other weird thing to note is that Beton Brawler in the Gearing has snuggled himself between the wholesome thighs of a Des Moines and a Goliath and is riding that path straight to victory over at Alpha down in the GH line, trying to find the G spot that he can reside in before, I assume, trying to smoke somebody, but I don't really know why.
Well, so some interesting things going on here. I noticed that the Daring of Jamie Mendoza actually making a tiny smoke just to get the Moskva of Siberian Dog through this gap and not get obliterated. Shots coming in right at the beginning of Popular Boar's Des Moines, firing on the Kleber of Old Dirty Napkin there. So a little bit of fire exchange going on as the ships at A getting themselves into position. Getting into position over there, however, not opening up yet. Radar is going off. Oh my goodness, all over the place here. And yes, it looks like C is going to be a major standoff as well as A, with just a pair of Des Moines and a Kleber in B trying to trade. There goes the Haragumo of Hater Mail already being radared and now being shot. And you can see he's just getting whacked with AP from cruisers already. That's it's a big fat destroyer, man, and it functions a lot like a light cruiser. So BN obviously very eager to get that down. Haragumo not firing his smoke, not setting up his smoke yet, likely because he's still in the radar range of Siberian Dog.
Yeah, after that change to the Haragumo, Wargaming accepting a lot of hate mail from the now numerous amounts of DDs flooding into ranked, and Hater Mail is no exception as he receives all the choice words from BN's cannons. As he's going to run, that's going to give no destroyer to contest Charlie, while the Kleber of Old Dirty Napkin continues to hang out behind an island in the center, just kind of hanging out behind an island in the center. That's going to leave a daring of Jamie Mendoza potentially be shot by Tree of Death, but that's the only thing that's going to be contesting Charlie unless this Kremlin decides to push forward. Over at Alpha, we still have the gearing of Breton Brawler kind of off in outer space. Time to Metal has been able to move into A and kind of take an island position, which should keep him dark and safe from shells, as Iron Sarge 69 roars up the one line, which is going to start giving him angles on that island. And if there is some detection going down, that Kleber might be forced to move.
Yeah, so again, BN putting their Kremlin into a position to be very, very aggressive here. The problem is that I don't know quite where this Kremlin would go. He could go into the island gap here, which is where we saw Kleber go yesterday in the NFJF game. But BN also having 2 DPM cruisers out here on the 10 line that need to get into position and start moving south to put pressure on Tree of Death, who is the linchpin here. But it's going to take some time, and that's going to leave, well, I was going to say that's going to leave the point gain in Abandoned Ship's favor, but Time to Metal's Kleber has in fact taken A for free, as Breton Brawlers gearing is over here on the one line, smoking up the Goliath of Iron Sarge, like you said, pushing in. However, they're pushing towards a Nevsky, which has 12-kilometer radar and is not intimidated by Breton Brawlers gearing pushing forward, as he's going to be lit here any second.
Yeah, a little vexatious. I really assumed that they were banking on this Goliath position to try to dislodge maybe a Haragumo or something. Instead, there's a very detectable Kleber, which I assume this gearing will be able to light for Iron Sarge 69 to be able to bark some fire at. That being said, even if the Kleber decides to bail, they still have to get the gearing all the way over into A to begin to contest. And right now, their points are to ASHIP, meaning they're up by about 120 points due to an early cap, but they're not doubling down on it, and C is currently directly under threat as the Des Moines and Worcester push aggressively down the 10 line. Daring doesn't have good smoke for them, but that's a lot of gunpowder. There's going to be a Des Moines of Tree of Death, and if they can just burn that dude down, then the Kremlin Moskva can move into C and just take that, potentially wrapping and cleaning up Bravo in the next few minutes if they do lose C.
Yeah, lots and lots of long-range trading going on here. I think that the next aggressive move we'll see will in fact be what you just described. It'll be the Kremlin moving up, and here he goes. Kremlin will move up. He's going to shoot at the Montana there of Homie with the boat. But his goal, and I think Planet Hodags knows this, is to wrap around into the island here and obliterate that Des Moines to hopefully free up B for Popular Boar to go in and take it. As Old Dirty Napkin's Kleber is going to go ahead. I can't tell now if Old Dirty Napkin is going to try and YOLO this Des Moines or maybe the Montana, but he's moving aggressively up, and he's spotted. He's spotted by the radar of Popular Boar. So another thing to note real quick before we lose it, Trio Death now, because he's been flanked by the Worcester and John the Pickle, he's in a big, big problem. And yes, the Kremlin slapping Planet Hodags. Boy.
Yeah, Bravo getting mauled, Al and Charlie getting mauled. The Des Moines Worcester actually using that daring smoke for its full duration, getting about 50 seconds to a minute worth of just ass kicking into Tree of Death. Already down to 15k, trying to heal, but that's not a Salem, that's a Des Moines. He's not going to be able to live forever, while the Des Moines of John the Pickle and Zapata 96 dump shell after shell after shell into the tree. And much like the tree in Nordersill in World of Warcraft, this dude seems to be on fire, and it's not going to end in a pretty picture. Once that goes down, Planet Hodag's already reversing and getting the F out of there. That's going to bring the Des Moines Wooster off the border, potentially with another daring smoke, and either they're going to start dumping in on that Montana, or they're going to cut through the middle and start slicing these caps in half.
So something to note, and that is that the first kill is on the board. The first kill goes to BN. They took down the Des Moines that was sitting just southwest of C here, but that did come at the cost of Siberian Dog's Moskva. Got absolutely hammered by Homie with the Boats Montana, taking just an enormous crack of HP, and then John the Pickles Des Moines getting the same treatment, about half his HP gone, and now Zapata 96's Wooster again getting absolutely slapped by the Montana of Homie with the Boat. Up here in the corner at, A, Jason's Nevsky still kiting away and retreating, keeping these ships in A honest, but A has fallen to a ship. BN doing a much better job this time of sort of falling back. But look at this. Old Dirty Napkins Kleber has sacrificed about 2/3 of his HP, but has broken into the back lines. He is racing across France here, but where is he going? He's going to run right into Time to Metals Kleber, and there we go. Kleber versus Kleber, one at full health, the other at 2/3. 1/3. Old Dirty Napkin is about to be discarded.
No Frenchman running away in this case. They're both charging each other, guns blazing, and one of them has 4,000 health, the other one has 25. Now down to 27 on Old Dirty Napkin. This napkin's about to get thrown in the trash. That was a bit of a squeeze play trying to dump in Torps on Popular Boar. Did actually dislodge him, but all that really did was move the Des Moines on top of the Kremlin Moskva. That reinforced the Bravo push. Popular Boar taking a nasty little chunk of oof from some battleship shells somewhere. Surprisingly, he's not in Bravo, instead hiding behind the island waiting for the Kremlin to kill Planet Hodags. And over on the side, coming off of the 10 line, we do have Zapata and Des Moines of John the Pickle. And the Wooster, they did actually take some shots because that Daring just doesn't have the smoke to support this. Daring has the heal, but what if they brought a Pan-Asian destroyer that would have given them constant smoke pressure? Maybe a bit of an oversight. Lots and lots and lots of damage going into the green ships at B, while Planet Hodag's not long for this world.
Yeah, Planet Hodag's doing the Lord's work here by keeping all three of these ships lit long enough for the Harugumo and the Shikishima to basically just obliterate these three BN ships here in the center. BN trying so hard to get Planet Hodags down, but just not having the DPM necessary as the Kremlin of Kaiser Kraken, finally gets his man. Planet Hodags and Kremlin essentially being traded out. But this is very interesting as Popular Boar and Siberian Dog are now essentially free to attempt to cap B. I think that's going to be Popular Boar we see do that, as Zapata 96, John the Pickle, the DM, and the Wooster that are the DPM machines for BN, they are now free also to reposition. And Jamie Mendoza going to go ahead and easily push both Hater Mail and Homie with the Boats Montana. He can get out there and screen and keep the two of them from ever coming back, while Zapata and John the Pickle redeploy to try and blunt this push by Abandoned Ship over here at the A-Cap. Speaking of the A-Cap, I'm a little concerned by what I see from Abandoned Ship, where Blueberry Pie is following Breton Brawler towards B. I'm concerned that they're going to allow the Nevsky of Jason to essentially double back, come and start to form that horseshoe around them if they're not careful. That's a common mistake even good teams make, is sometimes they will sort of they'll abandon this island right here, and it'll allow whomever is kiting to come back and start getting flanking shots, which is exactly what's happening on Blueberry Pie right now.
Yeah, A-Ship looks to be hanging out in the A-Cap, wanting to move toward the Bravo. However, while they did a lot of damage to the Moskva Des Moines and the Kremlin that fell, they didn't do enough. Those two ships continuing to hold spot. Have to wonder about BN's decision, however, to follow the Daring to the south, trying to go from smoke cloud to, I assume, farm down a Montana? Okay, Montana's definitely going to have some cross-map threat with those big-ass guns, but what's the likelihood that a Wooster Des Moines are going to be able to follow and kill a Montana with Daring smokes without getting murdered? I don't know how that one's going to file out, but right now we've got a Des Moines that's down to about 1/3 of his health left, and if he gets spotted at all, Homie with the Boat's going to remove that ship from his stead.
Ooh, enormous hit coming in under the Shikishima of Abandoned Ship. I'm not sure where that actually came from. Forgive me, guys. I wasn't tracking those shells. It may have been a torpedo. It may have been John the Impaler here firing over these. It must have been John the Impaler's Montana hitting this Shiki in the side. about 30k, I believe, going into that Shikishima, who has also been doing the Lord's work by making sure that all of these cruisers over here on BN side are being kept honest. About 5k going into the Kleber of Time to Metal there. This is very interesting, but I am concerned. Looks like the Nevsky of Jason deciding to move back and attempt to help the Kleber with the gearing rather than fold up and try to pressure A again. I'm not sure. Maybe BN is choosing to sit on 2 caps. That could very well be. At the moment, they have the cap and the time to win advantage. They don't have the point advantage, but at this moment, BN winning in 4:13 versus 5:24 for Abandoned Ship.
Yeah, I think that Nevsky over on BN decided to give up the pressure of staying on the 1-2 line to gain the DPS. This Shikishima right now is a monster. On the one hand, it's an incredibly dangerous position with gunfire coming in from all sides. However, its guns are huge. The Moskva Des Moines continue to be trapped in Bravo, unable to move. Thankfully, they were able to take the cap to BN, and that's going to get that point game moving. But the Shikishima finally able to retreat behind an island and behind a smokescreen. I think that's going to give him a small respite. That nonetheless, a Moskva does go down to the Goliath as shells start to trade over to Iron Sarge, but it is a Goliath. That's a hard, tough thing to kill. Over on the southern flank, Homie with the boat continuing to run down to about 31,000 and lit on fire because, I mean, Des Moines and Worcester and Daring, they are using the smoke clouds to the best effect, but piece by piece, smoke by smoke, they're losing another chunk of the ship every time that smoke goes down. Daring's got a lot of them, and in fact is getting shot in the face right now as well. But if some of those Montana shells land right now when that smoke is down, we might see one of those things just get deleted off the face of this map. Wouldn't that be something huge?
It would. So the big question, big shot going into John the Pickles Des Moines right now. The big question is, does the Shikishima feel ballsy enough to take a shot? He's back up to 23,000 HP after getting down to about 5, but a ship has lost their Montana, which means their southern flank is gone, allowing this Broforce down here from BN to basically come around and wrap up. If they like to, they can head straight west and start to form that horseshoe, which you can see it. Look at this beautiful horseshoe that BN is starting to form around a ship who is all now focused in the center. The big question, yes, the John the Impaler's Montana now going west to start forming that horseshoe. Big shots coming in. I believe a ship may have the point advantage and the time to win advantage right now, but they are down now by 55,000 HP, and they're in a terrible position as well as being 2 ships lower. I think all that Buenos Noches has to do is play patiently, play carefully, play conservatively, focus fire the Shikishima or the Goliath at this point, and just slowly wear them down, and it should be theirs.
Yeah, the loss of the Montana in the south, it was a hell of a risk, and they lost a lot of pieces off the Worcester and Des Moines while doing it, but they did get the Montana, and that is clutch. Why? Because it's going to allow those cruisers to re-engage, and that's got a Des Moines looking at the broadside of a Goliath and Iron Sarge looking desperately to make some kind of play here as he eats AP shell after AP shell after AP shell under the armpit. And is he going to get torps off? No, he's going to get taken out before he's able to get in there. Haragumo of Hater Mail sending some hate mail over to the popular Boar 14. Looks like that Des Moines is going to somehow get out of it, but if anything else happened, ASHIP took the Bravo cap. Now that Des Moines Worcester combo with the Daring's going to move in and probably dislodge them, but ASHIP does have the cap advantage, and minute and 40, stuff's got to die or cap's got to be contested. Popular Boar's going to be out of this match for the rest of forever. Question on Breton Brawler and Hater Mail if Hater Mail might go down.
Well, we need to be watching John the Pickle right now. He is about to go down. This could be huge. Okay, so it is now 50 seconds until Abandoned Ship wins this match, unless Abandoned Boar. Oh my God, John the Impaler, both Johns down. 15 seconds until Abandoned Ship wins this and takes this series. Haragumo going down. Okay, back up to 50 seconds. BN absolutely must get another kill or step on a cap at this point. The Boar, popular Boar, so popular he may need to get moving. Kleber charging, time to metal, charging the Shikishima. That should be enough. I don't know if 3-6 definitely are enough to kill him, but if he dies before the torpedoes connect, that could be it. Who's going down first is the question. It's going to be... time to metal goes down!
He got
I just had
torps
a
off.
brain
Colbert
aneurysm.
got torps off. He's got 3. He's got 6 of them going out toward the Des Moines, who
Oh
is
my God.
trying desperately to turn. Down goes the gearing. That's going to trade even more points. Boobury taking 1, 2, not taking the 3rd, but the Nevsky's going to be looking to clean up, and the Nevsky is a fire hose. 19,000 to 13,000. Nevsky's steaming in. If he can get eyes on the Des Moines, radar popped. That if he lights a fighter, if he lights a fire, that's going to be a thing. BN has already stepped on Bravo. It's 1 cap to 1 cap. BN, if it takes Bravo, will end up being able to point out. However, if the Des Moines of ASHIP, last man alive, is able to somehow take out the Nevsky, who has decided to engage, that's going to be enough point swing that they might win on 1 cap. Not going to happen. Takes the shells in the side. Down goes the Des Moines.
Absolutely amazing last moment there as excuse me, good lord, 1-1 now. BN coming in with the clutch plays there, but what a spectacular match. Thank you to both teams for making such a great game for us to cast. That was just astounding. Right there at the end, literally, ships dying back to back, causing, man, so much stress. That's just astounding.
Yeah, that's the alarm sirens going off when everybody hits the F it button at once. You start hearing screams and torps and beeps and boops and kill sounds and all kinds of nuttiness, and it just kind of happens everywhere at once.
Wow. Okay, sorry, just congratulating them now in the chat there, because that was just astounding. Really, really fun to watch. Wow. Okay, well, so what happened there? I mean, Oskans, you and I had sort of called early that BN had done the correct thing, which was to play a bit more conservative and play a bit more, I want to say, a bit more focused in terms of, hey, choose who to go after and then don't stop until that guy's dead. And they ended up doing that. Oh, wow. BN now saying they had a disconnection during the game.
Ooh, that's unfortunate. That was
sorry. I'm gonna find out.
BN won, so that's not going to change anything.
Right.
So that'll be okay, because I mean they ended up taking it, right? So if ASHIP had won, that would be a little different, I suppose. But after a certain point, I don't think a mulligan can be called. Yeah.
No, if there's a disconnection, I don't know exactly what the rules are. Jamie says that it was John the Impaler who he disconnected and reconnected twice through that game. John the Impaler, of course, one of the battleships, I believe he was the Montana. We know he was alive at the end, or he was connected at the end, because he did, in fact, get several kills there. Or I saw his shells connecting, so...
Well, going back to that previous match, I mean, if we look at kind of the whole situation, I remember the gearing with the G-spot over at Alpha, just kind of like hanging out, playing it cool, looking to get a little sly in the long game, you know, not trying to rush things, not trying to scare the ladies off.
Right.
Eventually moving up with that Goliath and kind of making some plays happen. I mean, they forcefully took A. It took them a little while, but they forcefully took it. And the real surprising thing for me was BN eventually. They got that nice coordinated push. They took C pretty dominantly. And then they decided to open water against a Montana with daring smokes. I mean, obviously they didn't die for it, but holy shit. I mean, how that's a risk, man. That's a super risk. And I still have to wonder, was that daring? What if that daring was a Smoke Yu Yang? I mean, they would have constantly had smoke. They would have been in a much safer position. They could have pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. I think that could have been one hell of a difference that would have made it a lot safer for BN in the long game.
Right. So, it was such an interesting choice to push the Des Moines and the Wooster using a daring smoke, not even a gearing or something with a very, very long American smoke, but a daring. You might even say, if you were a fan of puns, you might even say that was a daring plan, as they sort of relied on the stealth of the Wooster and the Des Moines to be able to, hang back behind the daring long enough to, I guess, to stay safe until that smoke was ready, and then to just A10 Warthog with that Wooster. Great to see a Wooster being used in this way. Man,
I just have to say, with that daring smoke, like, I don't know how if I'm dating myself here, because I know we're gonna have some younger folks in the audience, but there was a movie called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and there's a scene in there where I think it was Steve Martin gets out of the shower and he's looking around for a towel, and the best he can find is something about the size of a sock, as he's just kind of like dabbing his face with this little teeny towel, and it's just like these little daring smokes. Hey guys, you're good for like 40 seconds. Okay. They shoot like what, 7 times, and then they get to move again, and then they shoot like 7 times, they get to move again. And I realize it's cool for the daring, but it just felt it felt kind of clown carish. Like, wow, you've got these big burly dudes all stuffed in this small little sedan or whatever. How are you going to make this work? But they did, and it came up big when the daring got rid of that when they were able to take down that Montana and claim that southern space. If that Des Moines wasn't running up to the B cap and ready to rip the shit out of that Goliath, then he easily runs down the Des Moines, and hell, even runs over and backcaps Charlie. ASHIP could have absolutely dominated the match if that Goliath had been able to move unhindered and pop that Des Moines and just keep on running, get safe again, and totally just disappear off into the nether regions of nowhere after taking C, forcing the daring to move and the Moskva to it could have just been crazy.
Looks like they're asking if we're ready, so I'm saying vamonos, let's do it. Man, I'm just absolutely blown away. Looks like they're about ready here. I said CC vamonos. So I'm curious, do you know anything about Abandoned Ship? I know that they've done well in clan battles. I've seen them around. They're always they're always tough to go against. But I don't know their history in COTS. Do you?
Not a clue. That's actually one of the reasons why I like your podcast. Is your podcast gives the ability to kind of meet clans that. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not the social type, I go home, I play on my computer and stuff. So sure. The fact that you get to meet these dudes is actually pretty cool. So I could be reaching off into the future here, but I feel like ASHIP might get scheduled for a meet and greet on a podcast in the coming days.
I think that's a great idea. In fact, I'm going to write that down as a note, because I have a channel in my own Discord where I keep the podcast schedule. So let me just write that down real quick. Very nice, very nice. Man, looks like the ref is going ahead and taking a look at both of these. I'm so glad that we're going to game 3 between these two teams, because both are trying interesting strategies. I love seeing the Shikishima from Abandoned Ship. I love seeing... by the way, I have to just be selfish for just a moment. So on Abandoned Ship is Tree of Death. Tree of Death, apparently, I did not realize this. Tree of Death was... He said I made him famous. And the reason is because not too long ago, I had an absolutely incredible clip taken while I was streaming of myself not randomly, but just sort of offhandedly firing my Ohio at a Thunderer played by Bonks' Sergeant Hattie, and it completely dev struck him from full to 0. And the reason that's interesting and exciting in and of itself, but before that, I, like the true child that I am, was bitching at this Des Moines near me to move out and move up and be a bit more aggressive. And it was Tree of Death who said, I'm not leaving until the Thunderer is dead. And I sarcastically, on camera and in chat, said, oh, that's all? Sure, let me just do that for you. And then I immediately dev strike the Thunderer, and Tree of Death in chat goes, okay, now I'll leave. And that was Tree of Death. I didn't even realize that I was griefing him. So I apologized for griefing him on my stream. And I sent him a community contributor container for helping me out and being a good sport about that. So game is starting here. Yeah, game is starting here. Let's go ahead and see here. Let's take a look at a ship first. So a ship, I'll do a ship this time. Again, Shikishima, but Kremlin this time instead of a Montana. So big guns, big armor. 2 Des Moines, Goliath, Moskva, Stalingrad, Kleber, Z52 this time. So now we've got a Kleber and a Z52, but still only 2 DDs from a ship.
Always love to see the Z. That was my first tier 10 DD. That rhymed. I'm a poet. Yeehaw. Over on the other side with BN, we've got a Kremlin, Montana. Guys are cracking on the Kremlin. I'm assuming that's going to become a Wrecking Ball vibe, because that's what it's been every single time we've seen it. We've got Des Moines, Salem, Nevsky, Stalingrad. So we've got a little diversity of cruisers. And then we've got Double Daring and a Kleber, which does seem to be heading for the long haul over to Alpha already.
Yeah, so let's take a look here. I'm interested. Oh, we're doing a mulligan here, as looks like something happened on abandoned ship side. They're calling it. So we're gonna be going back to port here shortly. Wow, look at that! The Stalingrad of Hater Mail nearly dev striking the Moskva of Iron Sarge. That's I didn't know they could do that, but it's pretty spicy.
Stalinium.
Yeah. So okay, we're gonna go ahead and go back to port real quick. Head back to the maps section. Give us a few minutes while they get re-readied up. It's possible that we can't see the in-game chat, but it's possible that we had another disconnection. Apparently, yes, it was on the side of BN. I'm guessing it was John. Oh no, John the Pickle is still here, but John the Impaler apparently has sat out. Okay, yeah. So it wasn't that. Maybe we'll find out what that was.
Yeah, so it looks like Jeff got DC'd, so I don't know if Jeff is the name of the person, or Drazhen Jeff, who is actually one of the players over on BN. But it does say he's restarting the client, so okay. Looks like everybody's here.
Okay, well then we'll just chill here for a few minutes. Wow.
Wow.
Okay, oh, looks like, wow, okay. So just getting some notes in here. I'm going to look at the tournament board to make sure I can report this properly. We have actually, we have the first rounds of wins going in from group stage 2. So we're on our third game, but a number of the brackets have actually already concluded. So I'm going to go ahead and report on the ones that are over. 007 Devastating Strike has defeated 2-0 Tretta. 007 Double Strike has 2-0 defeated RBMK to move on. Bonks goes 2-0 over Kraken. SCCC goes 2-0 over 5D. KSC goes 2-0 over NPNYH, which is the second clan fielded by Clan PN. So they go on to face Start Treco, who triumphed 2-0 over MHG. TNG, my clan, defeating the main clan of PN 2-0, and will be going up against XPN, who defeated Tab, the Angry Bears, 2-0. And then QQ7, the Magical Social Clan is what they're called, defeats GGWP 2-0 as well. So a number of... and Entai, looks like Entai beats RNG 2-1. So wow, okay. The second round getting set up already. That's pretty spicy. We'll keep a tally of that going here, and we'll figure out. We are slated to cast 07 versus the winner of Good Luck Have Fun versus No Cap once this match is over. So be looking forward to that, folks. 07 versus either No Cap or the secondary team of GGWP after this match is over.
Yeah, I do have to, I have to wish your TNG guys luck after they have defeated Penetration Nation. Now they're going against Extreme Penetration Nation. That sounds like that's going to be on a whole nother level, so good luck to both of you.
Yes, absolutely, and you to KSC as well. A lot of friends over there, wishing them the best of luck. XPN, very interesting. We cast XPN yesterday, and they looked very solid, so good luck to them as well, going up against my boys at TNG. Looks like we're almost ready. Abandoned ship's taking a little moment here. Taking a moment here, so we'll just see if we're almost ready. Let them know we're ready.
It looks like they're all good to go, so might be kicking off soon.
Yep, there we go. Okay. And switching over to gameplay. Bonk. All right. So the ship lineup is the same.
Well, for the recording, you got to say it again because it's all
Oh,
new, baby.
damn it. All right, fine. Okay, I'll do BN this time. So BN, we have Montana Kremlin. They're going to stick with that Kremlin that they have been using very aggressively. They have Des Moines, Salem, Nevsky, Stalingrad this time, and they are going with the 3 DD strat of 2 Darings, 1 Clever. So we'll see if, we'll see if 3 DDs can make it work for them this time.
I just have to say, 2 Darings, 1 Kleb could be like some kind of weird World of Warships. Yeah, so on the other side, ASHIP's got Kremlin and a Shikishima. Shikishima, I think, actually rolled up pretty well for them before. Definitely going with the giant ass shells there. We've got a Goliath, Des Moines, Moskva, Stalingrad, so a bit of a diversity in the lineup. And then we have the Kleber of Old Dirty Napkin, Des Moines of Tree of Death. Oh, double Des Moines, I'm sorry. Well, that means only 2 DDs. So they've got a Kleber and a Z52. Z52, an interesting choice on this map. I believe it has the ability to Hydra the ever-living crap out of either A or Charlie, but it does look like Old Dirty Napkin and the Kleber is making a beeline for A.
Yeah, that is probably where the 2 Klebers are going to run into each other. They're going to go over here to A and stare over the fence and yell, hey, 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 as the Z52 of Breton Brawler does, in fact, make his way towards the B cap. Now, this should be very interesting because we're going to see Daring versus Z52 in the center. The Daring, a much better gunfighter than the Z52, as it has a heal, it has faster firing guns, it has not better AP, but it has advanced AP angles, whereas the Z52 has extraordinarily high AP damage per shell. I think a lot of people sleep on the Z52 in that way, but I don't know who really comes out the better in this. The only thing I know is that the Z52, of course, having smoke and 6 km hydro, which may give it an advantage here. I'm going to be very interested to see how Z versus Daring stacks up in B, as Buenos Noches committing the majority of their resources to the C cap with, excuse me, Kremlin, Stali, Des Moines, Daring, and Salem all heading towards the C cap.
Yeah, they've got the jump on C. Both Klebers about to have a titanic clash of not really doing much other than staring at each other across the side of a rocket Alpha. But the Z52 is in the reversing position, while Jamie Mendoza in the Daring seems to be eyeballing Bravo without really looking about how he's going to go in. The Hydra of the Z52 absolutely going to be a vision advantage against the Daring, if it comes down to that, but also the Hydro and Radar of the Des Moines of Planet Hodags will be a hell of an advantage if Jamie Mendoza decides to brawl the Z52, giving him all kinds of sight while the Z52 would be able to shoot from cover. Over at Charlie, the Daring is making moves with the triple cruiser battleship hanging back from ASHIP, pretty far away from the cap, although I think the Stalin's gonna maybe have some radar range over Charlie. I guess we'll see.
So a couple important things happened here in the meantime. Number one, the Kleber of Old Dirty Napkin from a ship getting absolutely shellacked for about 10k while trying to make his way towards A. Now, so Time to Metal is going to go ahead and probably take A. Does he actually get it? No. Old Dirty Napkin gonna step on that. They will contest it, so no technically points gained for Buenos Noches there. However, 10,000 points off to 5,000 on their Klebers over here at A. While Jamie Mendoza taking an early torpedo from the Z52, that's going to be interesting to see how that affects them. As yes, in fact, here it goes. The Des Moines of Planet Hodags going ahead and radaring Jamie Mendoza as Breton Brawler opens up from smoke. So this could be an early cap on B from Abandoned Ship.
Yeah, I think the Daring's not looking to make any crazy plays right now. He's just going to be running in the opposite direction of the radar, and the Z52 and potentially the Des Moines can be able to move up. Meanwhile, Hater Mail, once again receiving his daily dose of hate mail, has dropped half of his ship. I don't know to what. I assume a Kremlin, but
Montana, Draws and Jeff from the other side, I believe.
Holy wow, what a beautiful shot. That's almost like 27 kilometers to be able to sign on in there, and it looks like one of those torps might actually find its purchase. Nope, they end up drowning in the water before they get to their target. Siberian Dog backing off of Bravo for the moment, but will eventually be going back into Charlie to do the thing, as Bravo is going to fall over to A ship, and both Klebers are staring at each other with dirty looks.
Yes. So once Breton Brawler takes B here, I'm going to wager that he's going to make an attempt to move over and contest C, while Planet Hodags continues to stay in and around B to keep Jamie Mendoza out of it. We'll have to see if that actually happens, but looks like, oh my goodness, Old Dirty Napkin is just the most aggressive, getting a couple unfortunate hits in from the Nevsky of Jason here. As Time to Metal looks like appears I guess he's just proxy spotting him there. Just going to be some token shots coming across the board here at A. The bulk of the meat is going to be at C, as there is a lot of HP stacking up at C, and everyone getting into their positions here. Is Tree of Death going to get spotted here by the daring of Siberian Dog and get cracked by Unpopular Boar? I don't know. Let me see. No, he's not spotted. Okay, so he's going to stealthily make his way over here and put up a face against Zapata's Salem. Des Moines versus Salem. Salem generally wins that as it has the better heal. So Pencil Torps, I think, coming in from Siberian Dog towards Hatermail, but not likely to actually. Well, maybe he's going to get one. We'll have to see here.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a slow play. Does look like it's okay, though, unless he dives forward maybe at the last minute. And any of them come through?
No, he's good.
Yeah, that's the I think that's the famous torpedo ricochet from the new video. So we've got Tree of Death and the Des Moines looking at Zapata, and maybe he didn't know it, but Zapata's got a friend as John the Pickle. So there's going to be a Salem with a pickle jar that's going to be against a tree, and I don't know how well that's going to work. I think Salem Witch Trials used fire, so I do believe the Salem probably is going to be able to beat the tree. Daring is going to continue. Siberian Dog backing into Charlie, and we have the daring of Jamie Mendoza, which now, capitalizing on the lack of the Z52, is going to start pushing Bravo. So unless Planet Hodags moves up to try to get aggressive, Brenton the Brawler is getting his ass kicked, pops some smoke, and a whole bunch of shells coming in from everywhere. Ooh. Brenton the Brawler ends up coming up looking like a lightweight. Brawler no more.
So, excuse me. So really important to note here, yeah, the Z52 did not attempt to relocate from B to C. He actually went towards A, and he got cracked hard. The next thing to note here is that Hatermail, his Stalingrad, is basically stuck here. He cannot escape from this position. He is going to forever now be pencil torped, and if he should back up into this gap, gonna watch. BN is good enough to know that Drazen Jeff can absolutely put shots across here. Oh my goodness, as a ram, I didn't even see it because I was watching Hatermail, a ram from Tree of Death, the two Des Moines ram each other to death over here, and that allows Zapata 96 to make his way up around the corner, but will he expose himself to Iron Sarge broadside? He very well might.
Pencil Torps on Hatermail. Bye-bye, Stalin. That's going to be a loss of 2 ships over on Charlie in an extremely short period of time. The Des Moines of Tree of Death decided to go against the Salem and the Pickle Jar, and he swung around the corner trying to get that famous-looking double strike where you shoot one dude in the Citadel and you ram the other dude in the face. Didn't work, but he was able to slink by with 1,300 health and ram the Des Moines before he ended up dying without anything to show for it. Nonetheless, that's still going to be a loss of 2 ships. Now there are 4 against 2 with a bow-in Kremlin and a bow-in Moskva, probably looking at a slow, unpleasant death.
Very much. So I want to just point out to anyone over here at C who was sort of wondering how on earth did that Stalingrad get cracked the way he did. So if you try to put a Stalingrad in that little spot there, he has really, really good cover. Stalingrad, Moskva, anything really. They have extraordinary cover from the west side of the map, but there's really nowhere you can go. You can't escape once that happens, or you expose yourself horrendously. And that's exactly what BN knew. And BN went, well, then we're just going to pencil torp and burn that guy down until he's dead. That's exactly what they did. It worked out exceptionally well. And a abandoned ship, failed to do the same to Unpopular Boar. Popular Boar, not Unpopular Boar. So now we're going to see 2 Kremlins come out and basically slug it out like the giant armored knights that they are. And they're going to just smash each other in the face with AP. Excuse me. But I think at this point, this is looking solidly in BN's favor as, unfortunately, Abandoned Ship seems to have thrown away 2 of their ships.
Moskva of Iron Sarge taking a really sexy angle against Kaiser Kraken, dumped a whole bunch of AP into it, and wham, Dows goes a third of his health pool. Moskva not known for an extremely fast reload, but nonetheless it's still Russian. It's got some great penetration. If he can swing those front guns around to be able to keep on shooting, that's going to force the hand of the Kremlin. Kaiser Kaiser Kremlin, Kraken, whatever, is pushing forward to try to get the hell away from the Moskva, as Zapato's Salem is now going to take the corner. That's some AP shells, and pretty soon that's looking like a dunk. Nonetheless, the Kraken is hurt. The homie is hurt. That's a bunch of torps into the nose of him from that daring, once again showing pencil torp is the way. Kremlin taking some shots off at the Salem, knowing he's not going to kill the enemy Kremlin. If those shells come big, 13,000 on Zapata. Iron Sarge looking to clear the corner, still taking shots at a Kremlin, who shoots back. Coming in from behind, is it going to roll big? It does not. That's going to be a Moskva coming around a corner with more shells coming in at Zapata. Homie with the boat runs out of health a little too quickly. Iron Sarge still looking for some kind of angle. Nope, he's going to slam on the brakes, and the Salem's going to fly right by. So that's going to leave a Moskva dead, and that's going to be the collapse of C completely. So we've got to see this Goliath of ASHIP get off of the GH1 line and get engaged somewhere. They've got to get this Kleber killed, they've got to get A capped, and they've got to somehow rally back up, but they've only got 4 ships to their name.
Yeah, you know, it's so interesting because abandoned ship here so strong in that first match where they literally boxed out BN and just said, this is our win, we get it. Second one doing very, very well, but just sort of being slowly pushed out of their comfort zone by BN's, well, I want to say just sort of very consistent forward motion. Oh man, Goliath of Blueberry Pie getting hammered the whole game by Drazen Jeff's Montana, finally taking another big hit there. But this looks to me like a game fully in command by BN. BN very likely to take this series and move on. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just throw it out there that if they win this match, which is looking likely, they will go on to face the winner of Dale versus KSF, which is still in progress. So we don't know exactly who they're going to be seeing. But great to see. Okay, wow. Kleber of Time to Metal down at A. So A going to be coming into possession of a ship.
Yeah, the Kleber cleans up A, drawing back an old dirty napkin as he wipes the metal clean. That's going to let them get A in a moment. The Nevsky chucking some shells, but I don't know if he's got radar range for this. That Nevsky's been playing exceptionally safe, and even though old dirty napkin for some reason is charging the Nevsky, which would put him in radar range, that is going to be the collapse of the A cap. Nevsky's going to be stuck off in the corner, but if it doesn't have anything to really shoot, that's not going to matter too much. But the real question is what goes on with Drazen Jeff and the Montana rushing forward against a Shiki, but also a Des Moines. If those shells come in and clap Panic Hodags, that's going to absolutely be the end of Abandoned Ship, as they have abandoned the C cap and abandoned the A cap, but they have taken some refuge over in A.
Yes, let's see. Overmatch incoming. Bonk, a little bit, not as much as I'm sure Jeff would have liked. Yeah, it is just a matter of time now. BN's Eastern ships now sallying forth with basic impunity, knowing that they're going to have excellent angles on abandoned ships' remaining vessels at this point. Yeah, Kleber of Old Dirty Napkin taking big hit. Nevsky just so powerful against DDs, even ones with damage saturation. You'll see this is, I assume that Nevsky is going to be banned pretty frequently throughout the rest of this tournament, as it is an extraordinarily good counter to DDs with that 12-kilometer radar. Oh. Bang! Stalingrad taking down that Kleber.
Popular Boar with the Stalinium with a super flat shells rip right into the Kleber and take him down. That's going to be the end of any Torp threat outside of a Goliath who's swinging around an island, but he's pretty far from a Montana and pretty far from a Nevsky. So without some Hail Mary Torps, I think all they've really got is a ram and a prayer. Daring of Jamie Mendoza chuck some Torps over at the Des Moines, who might be getting some ideas about how to ram somebody someday. But that's going to be a long, long path to victory. That being said, the Montana goes down. The Des Moines is free to get torped by a Daring, unfortunately. So he's going to slam into a left side turn. How many does he eat? Oh. None. He eats no torps because he ate a lot of shells instead.
Because he got Stalined. The iron hand of Popular Boar says, "Da, comrade, give me all your citadels so I can redistribute them." Oh my goodness. Well, as we clean up here, as BN cleans up, I want to give special accommodation to the team coming in from Abandoned Ship. I need to also look and see, there is a runner-up to determine the remaining. I believe the teams that lose the first round get another chance to redeem themselves and continue on. So ASHIP not exactly out of the runnings here and can make a comeback if they are able to win their next matches, which we still don't know if it's KSF or Dale. But really nice showing, especially in game one by Abandoned Ship. They did an extraordinarily good job of completely boxing out BN, who is, BN was obviously seeded, owing to their exceptionally good placement in clan battles this season. So really, really want to give props to them for, I suppose, walking in as an underdog and putting a majorly good show up in the first match.
Absolutely. As David pounced the Goliath, so did BN take this one as well. That's going to seal it out for the second game. BN able to take the lead there. Some pretty close stuff going on at C. One hell of a contest. Losing the Des Moines and that Stalin at the same time, that was just a lot. Made for a hell of a crazy play when those two Kremlins were nose to nose with each other. Moskva coming out, shredding it easily 60,000 health off of that Kremlin in really short order. Did not go their way, but they took the risk, and you have to give props to the person that's going to jump off that cliff and see if there's a mattress at the bottom of it.
Absolutely, man. That was pretty wild. I'm impressed. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's see here. I don't know when the next round starts. I would love a little break to grab a bite to eat. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. Okay, so we need to at least find we need to take a look at the Discord and find out. Let's look at the COTS Discord. Find out groups 1, 2, right? Because that's 07. Okay. Forgive me, folks. I'm gonna take a moment here while we figure out. Okay, so this is bracket group 1. I'm just gonna go ahead and look for the training battle. See if 07 versus Good Luck Have Fun is up yet. Not seeing it yet. Okay. So hopefully they haven't begun yet. I would hate to think that 07 would play without a caster, but you never know.
It does look like Group 1 winner bracket Shoeless Jojo seems to be a caster that signed up for it, so they might think they have a caster. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So MF Jones and Optical X from Good Luck Have Fun, they are both doing their bans right now. So we have a few minutes, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and get while they do that, I'm going to go ahead and get a giveaway set up for my stream. And then I'm going to take a quick break.
All right, well, I will join you in taking a quick break. So see you with the next match.